What's going on, everybody? How you doing? August Patreon Hangout #1, the first patron hangout after the PewDiePocalypse, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah,
you have more subs, but no more patrons. We're sorry.
I got 5 patrons in the past 2 days. They're all like, I think most of them are like dollar patrons and whatnot. But like, I mean, shit, dude, whatever. It's fine.
It's just a sentiment that counts.
The thing that I'm the most happy and excited about, though, is like, you know, I could have never dreamed that I'd be able to at least help in some way blow the lid off of some pseudoscience that would get that big. Like, that's insane. That's absolutely nuts. I want to see how many views that fucking video's gotten. PewDiePie's video.
Oh god,
it made me so happy.
It was so good.
It was over 1.8 in a day.
Let's see.
So good.
3.7 million people have watched that video.
Man, it makes you piss out your butt.
Violently peeing out your butt.
Waterfalls. Oh, you mean violent diarrhea?
Not diarrhea.
It's not diarrhea.
Yeah, when it happened, I called my dad because, you know, I told my dad about doing the Dr. Phil thing, and I was like, Dad, PewDiePie watched the video, and he's like, what the fuck is a PewDiePie? Like,
he currently
said,
I
disown you. The highest person on
the platform.
Yeah,
YouTube tried to get rid of him. It fucking backfired.
He's the goddamn YouTube Highlander.
I think.
Excuse me.
I think he gets more daily viewers easily than Dr. Phil does too. So I'm super happy about it. I think it's great.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Old media is dead. YouTube is punk rock.
It's not dead. It's dying. A Hulk that refuses to go into the night quietly.
It'll never really die. Not really.
YouTube will eventually give mainstream TV its crystal knock.
No, YouTube's becoming mainstream TV.
Yeah,
It kinda.
TV needs a nice bullet to the back of the head. And then throw it into the river.
Take it out behind the chemical shed and lovingly give it both barrels. Yes. I fully support this action.
It's okay, Lenny. Just look like that and think of the rabbits and bullet to the back of the head.
Look at the pretty flowers.
Look, I was about to say that, yeah.
Tell me about the rabbits again, George.
So I also today's been pretty interesting too, because I actually have an InfoWars reporter started commenting on my InfoWars videos. Millennial Millie. Yeah, Millennial Millie. She's a pretty bad one.
Is she?
Yeah,
There's a good one.
No, but some are not nearly as bad as others.
Like Anne, at least she's good to look at.
She's a very attractive young woman. Sure, I'll give her that. But like, she's one of those street reporters for InfoWars that goes out there and, like, you know, talks to people. Brainwashed liberals heckle Trump rally. Veganism transforms into a globalist cult.
She's the one that goes out there and tries to start shit and then immediately complains when shit gets started.
Oh, I'm not that familiar with her. I'll be checking it out for sure.
She's not like Owen. Owen just has a face you want to fucking punch, so shit inherently gets started.
Yeah, Owen's pretty obnoxious,
giant robot.
But yeah, I don't know. It's silly. It'll be interesting.
I don't like Owen, or I hate Owen more than I hate Paul Joseph Watson.
I feel like you could sit down and actually talk to Paul Joseph Watson, and he would be somewhat of a normal human. But Owen just seems like a pretentious prick that I'd want to stomp the fuck out.
Ooh, this is a great one. Transgender immigrant seeking asylum next wave.
Next wave.
I guess
There's been crazy shit going on. Okay.
I can't.
There's a wave 5 people now.
Not just the frogs.
This brings a new meaning to the concept of a Mexican wave.
I guess so.
Nothing for that shit.
I don't understand the reference.
Mexican wave. I'm taking a health point away for that one.
Definitely. No, what I want is all the illegal immigrants to stop at the border at once and do one big ass human wave and then walk across, and I have no issue with it.
Yeah. Okay. If they could do the wave, then they're at least American enough.
Yeah. And if somebody does the wave and like falls off a cliff or into a river or something, that guy gets in first. Because he's already too drunk to fucking do the wave, so he'll fit perfectly at all our sporting events.
I think that they should have to crowd surf into America.
It's just one big fucking mosh pit.
Mm-hmm. We give them like a KFC Go Cup, right, with the wedges and the attendees.
Yeah.
Wedges and attendees, and they get a 40 underneath. Right, and a 40 of PBR, and then we pick them up, and then we just like crowd surf them into the country, and then make them do a wave on the way back, and then we
welcome to America.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I have a great idea. We should take all of the worst fucking wannabe black metal bands, make them play shows that if they can survive that monstrosity, they can.
Okay.
Walk through all the wannabe metal bands and wannabe Justin Biebers and shit, and if they can survive, they're American.
That's not hard. Just fucking blow out your eardrums.
No, what you do is you get a tattoo, and then all the Mexican mamas and grandmas start screaming while beating you with a chunk.
Come back here!
Charles, share with us your wisdom.
You think it's a joke, but I've seen plenty of like Mexican Americans on YouTube and Instagram and shit who are responding to those videos going, "No, you don't understand. When she took off the chancla, I cringed."
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And like, oh my God, no.
You know
everyone ducks and hovers.
It's like when a black grandma picks up a frying pan or a fly swatter, everybody recoils in fear.
Did any of you? It's like when a rap artist picks up a chair, you know shit's going down.
Did any of you see that video? It was posted around, I think, last week, and it showed this scene in America where this black woman grabbed the pavement and literally swiped the pavement on this old Hispanic guy who was merely just asking for stuff, but he couldn't speak English because he was basically trying to speak, the basic forms of English, but due to the racial looks of the Hispanic guy and, the slurs of Spanish coming out, the black woman got so fucking pissed off because she sees her community is completely overrun by these Spanish.
That's not at all what happened.
No. I'll describe the scene. What happened? So she slams the pavement right into his face. And what happens is these two other black guys. She beat the dude with a brick. Put it in blank terms. Stop. Well, yeah.
Her and like three other dudes beat the shit out of an old man.
Okay, all right. So then these two other black guys.
The other way, haven't they normally beat them into the pavement, not beat them with the pavement? I feel like they've gotten this backwards.
I might have seen it was a blurred, bone footage stuff.
It was a brick.
Yeah.
It was a brick.
Yeah. All right, it was a brick. Yeah. So these two other black guys then proceeded to not curb stomp, but like just kick a lying old Hispanic guy. And then basically what happened, media put a span to it, is that they deliberately wanted to frame, they just said American woman beats Hispanic guy, but not putting out her race onto it.
And everybody thought it was a white woman until it came out that it's a black woman.
It was a black chick and three
that
black
was saying,
dudes.
go back to your country. Literally,
because
yelling at this guy, go back to your country.
Like
the American media,
women, but whatever I hear,
the American media,
I think it's always like a black or fucking Mexican woman.
What the American media doesn't want to show is there's a clear major fact that blacks, in certain black neighborhoods, when there's a host of new migrants from, the blacks utterly despise the Latinos.
Yeah, no, they're racist as fuck.
And it's never pointed out. It's never pointed out. It's never put out in the mainstream media because they want to, maintain the hysteria that it's only the whites that are racist to the year.
It was a lot.
One would almost be surprised that
it ain't new.
You'd almost be surprised that in a neighborhood with a scarcity of resources, that people will be even more competitive for those resources. This doesn't surprise me at all.
It's not only
Racism
that.
is a factor in this.
It's also like gang. It's like the Latinos have got their own cartel gangs, and they're the Crips and the.
Let somebody who actually knows talking about speak.
All Latinos are in gangs. This is the truth.
I don't know.
All blacks are in gangs too.
How much little you know.
PB, why don't you shut the fuck up, you bitch-made ass motherfucker?
At least I'm still in the Saints server, faggot.
I don't give a fuck about the Saints Discord server.
Bullshit.
Oh my god, why are you guys beefing in here? What the shit?
Because TV's a little bitch.
Whatever you say, Roly Poly, you can't do MMA.
I've never tried MMA.
Whoa!
At least I'm not fucking
Somebody cool the fuck
on the line
down.
talking a bunch of shit
All
like
right,
I'm
all right,
King
all right. Guys. Is there any opinions that you have on that story that recently came out last week?
Nothing other than you're preaching to
It's
the
been
choir.
out longer than last week.
Yeah, that's
Several
been
months
out for
old.
like.
It was mid July.
We've got more
Oh,
for
it was mid-July. Oh, I see.
Jack, you're trying
Don't
to build John Thomas or something here. You're trying to
Ah, it
build
was
the peace.
mid-July. Anyway.
Oh boy, that's very noisy today.
Sorry.
Okay, so the okay, what the? Oh my god, my brain has shut down. All right, so. Basically, like there is kind of there's two ways that you could look at it. Number one, like the media trying to dumb things down, and you could say that there's like a certain anti-white sentiment to it. You could there's also maybe the only reason why they even mentioned that the guy was Mexican to begin with is because like they did specifically state that they wanted him to get out of the country, and thus otherwise didn't mention her race because it wasn't like. She didn't say something like a black woman's beating you or I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's the truth of the matter is that it's unfortunate. There's racism all over the fucking place. It is definitely not one direction.
The thing is that America, through the later part of the 20th century, is always like bringing up this, major hysteria and sensational outcasts of highlighting race in almost every political situation.
Agreed.
And therefore, like in the day of the internet, when like that was just an article. It wasn't like a TV broadcast.
Sure.
It's just they're using the same sensational kind of headlines now, just to get the the occasional clicks now.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how you could write a story about that situation though and not have it come out sensational because it's a rather sensational, horrifying story.
But it happens all the time. Like a black dude and his family moves into a Mexican neighborhood. The Mexicans will fuck them up because they're new. They don't belong there. They don't fit in. It's their place. So if an old Mexican dude's in a black neighborhood that all of these are lower income, and he's out there asking questions and only in Spanish because he doesn't know English, he's gonna look suspicious, and people are gonna confront him. And sometimes it's the wrong person.
I don't think that.
Well,
I don't think he actually asked questions. I think he
from
was
the way I read it,
literally
he was trying.
walking down the street.
The article says he accidentally bumped into the woman's daughter and apologized for bumping into her, and the woman just went ballistic and beat the shit out of him.
Where the three other dudes showed up from and who had the fucking brick to begin with. Like, how do you randomly find a fucking brick to beat somebody with?
It's more south. There's brick everywhere.
I think I kind of have a take on this. It's kind of like a snapshot of a smaller image of the bigger picture. This can happen anywhere, anytime. It could happen in a white neighborhood. It could happen in a black neighborhood, Hispanic. It could happen with any combination of all of these factors. But what the problem is we have been so oversaturated with the media, oversimplifying this into there's only two sides to this, and these are the only facts that we need to care about when there's hundreds of other parts to it, and making us think that this is a much bigger issue and it happens more than it actually does, when in reality, it's a small issue that's a misunderstanding that happens all the time that we can get over. But the media would rather have us divided and cause these big giant swings in different directions, so it's easier for them to make money and them to kind of control what's going on. Does that make sense?
Can I just add to that point? Have any of you seen the early 1970s film called The Network?
Never heard of it.
Yes. The Network is an incredible film.
It basically highlights. It might be seen as a kind of like a sketch film, but it's very important because it highlights a very historical time period within the American media. Because during the late 60s, when things were starting to kick off, you've got the anti-Vietnam War crowd, you've got the feminist crowd, you've got the civil rights crowd, you've got the Marxists, basically indoctrinating all the major college campuses through the late 60s, and the the attitudes and the appearance of average everyday Americans was changing from clean cut 1950s nuclear family style to outright hippie kind of hairy bum types of people. But what was important back then was how the media changed since during the late 60s, that nobody was like really back in that time. If you think the hatred for the media now is bad now, you should look back into the 60s, because the media was basically trying to cover up all of this, saying, everything's fine, as long as we stay together, we'll persecute this. But the anger within the American public was so strong, and they just simply didn't watch it. But then suddenly, in the film, there comes this new female character who has this brilliant idea of creating these forms of sensationalism, saying, yes, things are bad. And it adds this form of, confirming anger, confirming bias. And this is how pretty much the media, completely transformed. And we're still living in that legacy today. And, it's, if you really analyze the film, it's a very important historical highlight of, the change of the 70s.
The actual influence for this kind of problem in both white, Black, and Hispanic neighborhoods actually stems from the mass incarceration of all of the aforementioned races, because in the 60s, due to the civil rights movement, there was a lot of racial attacks on whites and Blacks and Mexicans from each other. Like, well, fuck, these guys are getting more powers than us, or they outnumber us, therefore. So when people are getting out of prison, that mentality, that mindset follows its way onto the streets, which is why neighborhoods are so heavily segregated. And if you're Black and you move into a Mexican neighborhood, you get fucked with. Or if you're white and move into Black or Hispanic, you're going to get fucked with. That prison mindset followed, and now that has become the culture. Therefore, that's why these attacks happen. That's why racism actually is on the rise.
Did you know that there's a statistic? If you're a white guy that somehow ends up in a general state juvenile prison, you're kind of forced to be racist. You're kind of forced to see
That's how you survive it there.
That's how you survive.
It's really fucking clicky.
And what's really funny is it's not just simple as you've got the white gangs, you've got the Latino gangs and the Black gangs. It's the Latinos and the white gangs who are basically lighter skinned that have to join together, and they even identify into Aryan brotherhoods when most of them are mostly Hispanic and mixed. That's actually not true.
The Mexican Brotherhood, or the Aryan Brotherhood, and the Mexican Mafia work hand in hand because they have similar goals. They are the minority. They like making money, and they're very, very, very violent son of a bitches. Yeah. That's why they work together, because they can keep the larger Black gangs in check, because the Aryan Brotherhood's known for cutting people's fucking heads off. Whether they're pedophiles, Blacks, people they don't fucking like. They're brutal. Less than 1% of the population accounts for 33% of the homicide. Kind of
crazy.
Really quick, I hate to interrupt, but I gotta go do some stuff. It's been really fun, you guys, and I wish I could stay. But have a great discussion.
Up into the next fair.
I will. I'll finish watching this later. Okay. Bye, guys.
See you, Farah. Bye.
I mean, and the Mexicans, they have a better street presence, even though the Aryan Brotherhood has ties to biker gangs.
They can be pretty brutal, yeah. I think really, if we focus on trying to do, I mean, maybe it's prison reform, maybe it's like post prison reform policies or something like that would overall help this in general. I mean, like there's somebody who wants a simpler answer and wouldn't really care about being sensitive or not could be like, well, we need to like have a race-based like positioning solution to it, but I don't think that's really helpful.
That's
the issue.
At all.
Rehabilitation.
No,
right.
It's literally all rehabilitation.
Yeah, real rehabilitation.
We have research in these countries doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Working.
But then again, a lot of these countries don't exactly have the racial history that America does.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
Can I just say, have any of you been binge watching the series that started in around, I think it was 2010 or 2011? It's called. It's based on the old thing. Is that Scared Straight? You know the series?
Scared Straight? I've heard of Scared Straight, but
those programs are bullshit. I went through one. It didn't do anything. It's basically just trying to intimidate the kids into not fucking up.
Quite rightfully. Well, Berserker quite rightfully, because you've got to think about it. Some of these, some of these inmates are probably either doing, lifetime, or they're doing around 10 to 20 or even 30 years. And even around 5 years sounds like a long progression of time. And if you think about it, like the reason why you see in male prisons, why everybody's jacked and everybody's intimidating looking, is because if you put a whole bunch of intimidating men, it creates this form of intimidation where no man can feel, safe, not even his own isolated cell, because he's always having the fear that he will be picked on by predators or by, other sadistic men that would want to, groom them. And it's, it's a really disgusting practice. And the great thing I have to, remarkably thank, the fact that from an outsider who looks at, US prisons, is that every inmate within that show, and I think you can interview any inmate, they regret doing that time. They utterly regret it.
It depends on the crime.
It also depends on their mindset. I mean, a lot of people, that grew up without families, when they found their gang or their group of people, that was their family. So if that's all they've known, no, they're not going to regret it. Like, oh, well, no. My brother, so I shot him.
The ones in the show, but no. They're not regressing the crimes they've done,
or the hard
way. They're regressing their presence.
They regret they got caught.
That's the thing, like,
because it's a waste of time. Because if you look at the psychology of males, the one thing to really torture a man is to feel that he's wasting his time for a long period. Like, this is a really scary thing. And I went through this when I was, entering my late teens and stuff. But, like, if you really psychologically bring it down, the scariest thing about, male lifetimes is that you have to basically be very productive with the time you have. And even though you've got, your entire life, that time can easily, quickly come in until you psychologically get it. But if you psychologically get it at a very early age, I think you might be at an advantage. Hopefully.
An easy way to fix the problem is to have trade schools and actually teach someone a trade while they're incarcerated. A lot of well-known tattoo artists learn to tattoo in prison.
That's what I was trying to say.
So they never get out of prison because they keep constantly charges for tattooing. Let that be an actual thing they can learn.
It's rehabilitation.
Or ironworking, leatherworking, fucking welding, something. But also, look at it this way. A lot of America's most famous criminals learned how to be that fucking good being locked up for the first time.
Yeah.
That's why it's literally people like, oh, you go in a normal kid who fucked up, you come out a hardened career criminal because you've now learned what not to do. You can talk to the guy who got caught robbing a bank, like, all right, don't do that because he got caught.
Speaking of criminals and shit like that, I found a channel which it's Thinky 2 or something like that. Fantastic fucking channel. He even talks about this in one of his videos, and I'm like, this is fucking addictive, man.
There's a YouTube channel ran by a dude who was been in and out of prison for 7 I think it was like 7 years was his last prison stint. It's called After Prison Show. He makes a lot of funny videos related to prison stuff, but he also talks about really serious topics of like why he went to prison. If you find yourself going to jail, how to avoid even being in illegal situations. It's actually a really good channel.
Is he that really? Is he really that like bulky, hulky looking black guy?
No, he's an American Italian guy.
Oh, I see. Oh.
I think I know who you're talking about, though. The black guy is actually a bodybuilder and a coach too.
He went to
cool shit.
Yeah, it is Kali Muscle.
Yeah, he went to prison. He went to prison as well. So
sweetheart, awesome dude.
Hello, hi guys, how's it going? Hey. Long time no see.
What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm all right. I am now 8 weeks away from my inevitable move.
Yeah, off to Japan with you, huh?
Yeah, off to Japan to the land of the rising sun.
Are you going to go without? Are you going to venture outside of Tokyo, or are you going to be mostly within the city during the travel?
I'll be moving there, so I'll be kind of permanently based in Tokyo, specifically in like 7 minutes away from Shinjuku. So.
Hey, I just have one bit of advice: do not go into the Suicide Forest with a camera. Don't be that guy.
Nah. No, if I go into the suicide forest, I'm only going with myself, some rope, and a knife. That's pretty much about it. Just so
and if and a fucking and a marker show how many miles you've gone in.
I mean, I most of you know I have a lot of rope, so
You have a shit.
I can trail my way into the forest and walk my happy ass all the way back out.
Tentacle,
so we're good.
Just a little tip. If you want to capture some of the nice Japanese women there, my greatest advice is to invest in either a second-hand suit if you can't afford for a proper suit, but just wear any convenient suit. For a non-foreigner.
I have suits galore. Like, considering that I'm coming in with a whole bunch of tattoos and I have to cover up most of them.
Yeah.
Especially the ones that are on my hands. The hands I'm gonna have to cover up with makeup, but like I have dressed shit.
I don't want to insult you, but like if you really want to be taken seriously in any East Asian country, you have to be a foreigner that has to have a very kind of clean appearance, because the East Asians have this massive obsession of outside, prejudice and judgment. So if they judge you by your outside appearance, and if you manage to pull it off, if you manage to pull it off, you can actually, score there.
Silly.
No,
he's been there many a time.
I've been there before, and I was actually there for 2 weeks, 2 years ago actually, and while some of it is true, some of it also isn't. There's actually a place out in Tokyo where men and women have to be careful. Like anybody that's traveling foreigner-wise, because there are little subsects of people that will go there just specifically to meet gaijin, meet foreigners. Yeah. And it can get very rapey, and not in the good way.
Oh.
Yeah.
How many some other do they take?
No, it's more like, well, there's a derogatory term that calls them gaijin hunters, and the girls will actually dose your drinks, get knocked up by you, and then tell you have a kid. There are some crazy ass fucking horror stories.
And then they won't talk to you because they would have just seen you as a penis dispenser, as a sperm dispenser.
2 nukes were not enough, people. That's all we're learning.
And even if you have any connection to that woman, you will never see your offspring again.
Well, the question I have is like, why? What's the purpose? Why do they do this?
It's for
the laws.
They have this. East Asians have this massive fixation on white Caucasian as well as well, not just black, well, not black. They tend to kind of view them in a very derogatory, racist way. But they have a massive fixation of white Caucasian genes because they find the white Caucasians to be of a proper, professional form of culture and race that they kind of romanticize a lot.
They never seen Here Comes Honey Boo Boo.
You know what? Actually,
I
don't know. That explains now why Richard Spencer likes Asian waifus.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
It's all about the Asian light traps. Just
and the thing is, it's not just in Japan. Any East Asian country, whether it be South Korea, China, or even in Southeast Asia,
how many of these countries have you been to?
Well, I've been to Hong Kong.
Hello Kitty.
I've also
been to Hong Kong.
An anime shirt.
There's a hole in your logic there, because actually a lot of older people in Japan can't fucking stand white people of any nationality because
what part of Japan?
I don't remember the whole nuking them twice thing.
No, Berserker, that's after the post-war period. A lot of culture within Japan has pretty much changed. The greatest thing about Japan is that without American commercialism, Japan would be very culturally and by its appearance would be very different than it is now.
It'd be very traditional Japanese.
Yeah, if you go to the funny thing is, if you go to any major East Asian city, whether it be Kowloon, Hong Kong, Beijing, Shanghai, Bangkok, Seoul, and even Tokyo, they've taken Western consumerism, American consumerism, up 10 times higher than it is in America. Like their whole forms of, you know, capitalist, you know, corporate behavior is combined with their East Asian tradition has pretty much maximized their economies. You know,
well, Japan is different because most companies are ran by the Yakuza.
No,
What?
no.
Certain companies.
What are you talking about?
Actually,
That's
it's
not
true
true.
because they blackmail the CEOs and the politicians. That's the entire fucking point.
You're looking way into it.
This isn't Mexico.
The Yakuza,
Not how Mexico works either.
the Yakuza prefer
You
to
just Yakuza,
have a
Yakuza,
major.
Yakuza.
Spit it out.
I'm trying to pronounce it in its proper term. They prefer to, you know, well their business into certain subsects of communities and
Trying to
not
goddamn
in the
explain
high-
everything, man. We don't need
Not-
an explanation for it. Concise.
No. I'm guessing that, but you're just jumping ahead. They prefer to concise their business within smaller communities that they can control. And unlike the mafia, where the mafia use brute intimidation, where they buy up some stuff, the Yakuza try to create a very form of, you know, family within the entire community. So everybody's kind of into it. But if you come in as an intentional threat to them, then you're going to have to deal with the community. Then you're going to have to deal with the blackmailing. You know, it's very.
It's more respect based than anything because
Yeah.
a perfect example, Ensign Inoue is a Japanese American who fought in Pride in MMA. Now lives in Japan. He beat the holy hell out of a fucking Yakuza member because he cheated him over. And when the guy's boss come to him, he's like, "Well, he fucked me over. Like, I'm a professional fighter. You know this. I could have killed the guy if I wanted to, but I didn't." And like, "Oh, good point. We're sorry." Continue beating him because he disrespected
The Yakuza, in my
us.
opinion, are over. I think they're very overhyped here. I think they're overhyped because, you know, generally they're very much an organized criminal. Well, I'd say criminal because they are criminal, but they're not really seen as criminal within Japanese society.
Yeah.
They're
They're considered delinquents. They're considered delinquents. That is the extent of it.
It's like the Italian mafia. It's like the Italian mafia in east side of whatever in America. Like if you see The Sopranos, I know The Sopranos are seen as a very kind of like, you know, sketch of the Italian mafia, but it highlights during the mid-90s the mafia was on a downward, you know, downfall, you know, period in their time where they were losing power. You know, they were having infights, and because the mafia kept a code, a very good, you know, form of, you know, family and, you know, tradition, couldn't cope with the changing landscape of how American society was going over. And also they had to contend with the Russians and the Mexicans
and the Irish
using very as well as the Irish. But in my view, the Irish have never really had a good criminal influx, except with the IRA presence. But that's a terrorist organization. But the mafia was slowly but surely being outcompeted with, you know, the Serbs, you know, the Russians, the Chechens that used really, you know, effective forms of intimidation. Like the Russian mafia squads use, you know, pinpoint targets where if you wanted to
send,
send,
of them former KGB and Soviet military.
They're an armed unit. They're not just criminals. They're an armed soldier unit. I think if you wanted to hire, you can still do this on the deep web. If you wanted to get an effective assassin. Yeah, if you wanted to, say like you wanted to kill some people in some bar that had major influence and you wanted them dead, you know, in less than, you know, 5 minutes.
You're more than likely gonna find a cop at the other side. That's
exactly.
That's the thing.
Oh, yeah.
The deep web isn't that fucking deep.
Well,
like,
no, it's not. No, it's not. It's still maintained by, you know, the authorities and stuff. It's still maintained by the authorities as well, because if we can access it, you know, the authorities can access it. But like, if you wanted to get an effective hit squad, you just give them, you know, the images, tell them at the time and location, and then what will happen is you'll have a van full of armed soldiers that will just look at the photos. They'll try to visually recognize who their targets are, and once they get to the scene, they'll just bang, 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 shoot the door and kill them, and that's it.
How did
And
we
that's
get
how-
into this?
More like you get a bang on the fucking door and it break in and hey, you're now gonna go to prison for attempted conspiracy of murder.
All I'm saying is that the Italian mafia have lost their major control, and in fact, they've even copied some of the assassination tactics that the Russians have used. So, the mafia's had their day.
Yeah.
But in Italy, if you go to Italy, oh boy, don't we be dealing with them?
I mean, if you think about it, like it's kind of like going through. It's the changing tide of how our world works. As we've developed and changed into a more global society, a lot of these constants that you've had throughout history are falling apart. Organized crime doesn't really work anymore. Not really.
Unless you're a Somali pirate.
Unless you're Somali, but that's right. Well, I mean, like at least in America, especially in the West in general, like you can even take it back to the Yakuza example of how the Yakuza originally started out as like a peasant uprising, then they became almost a governmental force, and even while there's been Yakuza street gangs and like dope slinging on the streets, the main bulk of the force of Yakuza, their massive control comes from legitimate business, and that's just how it's been for decades and decades and decades. Their holdings are legal holdings, but there is like a black market support on the underneath. In the States, all of these mafias and organized crimes and that sort of thing, they either went legit or they eventually were destroyed.
Yeah, phased out.
Berserker, this paint's for you, buddy. This paint is for you.
Black metal.
Black metal.
That's awesome.
But the funny thing about the whole Yakuza thing is that does everybody remember one of those really bad typhoons that hit Japan a few years ago that almost took out?
First.
Yeah, and the Yakuza were the ones that responded first with like diapers and food and everything, and it was just crazy how they were far more reliant than the government, but at the same time, it's all these close-knit communities. It's just It's very weird to see. And with that being said, I'm gonna go get ready. I need a shower and go take off. It was a pleasure talking to all you guys again.
Yeah,
I will try keeping everybody up. I'll try to keep everybody updated as well when I do land and all that fun shit. But
Enjoy
I'm gonna go enjoy. Yeah,
Link
I'm
to
gonna
the
also
Twitter.
enjoy my birthday
Link to
this
the
Sunday.
Twitter and chat.
I will link to the
Hey,
Twitter
happy
on
birthday.
the chat. Yeah,
Good man.
no, I finally turned 28 on Sunday, so it'll be fun.
Nice. Happy early birthday too, man.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. I will link to the Twitter in Discord and whatnot. I'll catch you guys later.
There's water.
Thanks, Matt. Safe travels.
Also, there's
Fair
an
ones.
issue. There's an issue with your argument. Most of the time in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, when the mob would go to hire hitmen, they would hire from organizations they work closely with, specifically the Hells Angels.
Oh yeah.
Because they were, instead of going like to some random fucking Russian dude who just got out of the KGB, like, oh hey, I need you to kill somebody, even though you may be working with the feds, you would go to the Hells Angels who sell you your guns and go, out of the respect, or we'll pay you extra. We need this person killed. Do you have somebody to do it for me?
Mm.
Yeah.
Because the angels are fucking everywhere.
Have you seen this? It starred Johnny Depp and it's called Black Mass. It's a recent film that came out in 2015.
It's about Marty Bulger.
Yeah, Molly Bulger. I mean, it's brilliant how they capture the 70s cold, attitude within that time. Like, there's a scene where he's grown, like and after when his wife leaves him, his mother dies and his son dies. His whole character, because he's working as an FBI informant, so he's kind of basically portraying his gang rhetoric. And the only thing that the character, well, I'm not sure if it's a fabricated narrative or anything, but it shows this time period in his life that the only thing he enjoyed was actually learning what the activities of the IRA informants in America, like East Coast of America, were basically giving in. And he was trying
the Irish mob in Boston sold guns to the IRA.
Yeah.
Not
as well as
surprised.
the politicians that had Irish kind of lenience and kind of Catholic sympathies through it.
Boston is an Irish Catholic town. Like it's just what it is.
You know what's funny, right? Thinking about crime in the UK, most of the gun crime, the illegal firearms, comes from the conflicts within the Troubles within Northern Ireland. And if you want to track where the weapons that the Loyalists and the Republicans used within the Troubles in urban street warfare, a lot of those weapons came from Libya, from Gaddafi, because Gaddafi had a major goods. Gaddafi utterly despised, Great Britain as well as America, what they were doing.
I'm lost.
Yeah.
Well, that's in 1916 during the Easter Rising. Most of their weapons were supplied by the Germans.
Oh yeah. So like it's funny how you can date back a gun or a rifle way back from different periods of history during the 20th century. It's just really interesting.
I love how almost everybody left.
The thing with Whitey Bulger was he's a fucking maniac who got sexual release from killing. Like, there's plenty of stories of him killing an entire family, burying them in the basement, then going upstairs and sleeping in the daughter's bed because he wanted to take a nap. He got his release.
Did you guys
so
ever...
Berserker,
go ahead.
Tell us about this anime that you've been watching then. What have you been watching? Apparently he's become a weeb.
I started like 8 different kinds going, this is stupid or this is too fucking weird, and immediately turned it off.
Oh, what have you successfully completed then? What did you enjoy?
I've started Loveless, and it is weird as fuck.
I finished Yu Yu Hakusho for like the 8th time.
You finished what?
Yu Yu Hakusho for like the 8th time.
That doesn't count anymore.
No, I'm afraid not. Go watch Little Witch Academia. That shit is my jam.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Little Witch Academia.
Get out. Jeff, unsubscribed on Patreon. That's it.
Goddamn anime. Goddamn anime.
And there go all his new subscribers.
Oh, it's about Madoka Magica, man.
We don't talk about that show anymore.
That's true. That's true. I probably shouldn't disparage anime now that I have a 9-year-old army hanging out. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
No, the 9-year-old
it's all about the My Hero Academia. I guess JoJo, even though it's crap, it's like Rave Master. Like,
how dare you equate
like
Rave Master and JoJo as being terrible? You fucking
I
asshole.
fucking hate JoJo.
Actually, Jeff, if you start playing Fortnite,
Rave Master and JoJo
subbing.
Okay, if it works super masculine, I absolutely hate it.
It's
Okay.
a fucking.
Is it?
Oh, that's right.
Okay.
You're a fucking brony. That's right.
I grew up.
okay.
I grew up on Dark After Sakura and shit like that.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that
The other side of the spectrum.
Can we
DBZ
reserve
was
the
horrible.
can we reserve the Weeaboo cockfighting?
Anime's a spectrum. Anime's
I just don't understand
than
why
Proceed
you
to,
keep often saying Rave Master is shit.
Let's let them get their weeb talk out. Let's
Okay, so
go ahead.
I've started a lot of weird fucking anime, and I grew up watching Yu Yu Hakusho, Ryu Kenshin, Inuyasha, Full Metal Alchemist, that kind of shit. And I'm getting into
that is good.
Watch Rave Master.
Kind of. What is it? Full Metal is okay. It's good to watch.
Shut your
Coming
brony
from a
whore
brony,
mouth.
coming from a brony, I don't respect any of your fucking cultural tastes.
He also is a Jeffree Star fan, so doubly
I
fucked
used
up.
to be.
God.
I used
Right,
to be.
you even were.
I used to know Jeffree Star.
I'm sorry, Jeff.
No,
I'm so
he was
sorry.
nice. He was cool to me. He was really cool to me.
I guess he was a.
I used to be a Kat Von D fan, but then I was like 8, so.
So striking out another conversation.
Oh, I
Jeff,
actually
okay.
wanted her to do one of my tattoos.
I'm pretty sure it was Jeffree Star because they look exactly the same. This is up in Portland, and like all the drag and the gay clubs. I used to go to them all the time.
They told us one before.
And I'm pretty sure it was Jeffree Star. Look exactly the same. It's been a few years, but then I saw Jeffree Star on the internet. I'm like, oh, I know that person. We flirted a lot, so I don't know.
The
Jeff,
first time I
where's
ever
the,
saw
Life of
Jeffree
Holiday
Star until
Jeff
recently,
reviews?
I didn't know what the fuck it was. I didn't know what I was looking at.
I couldn't make out what either of you said.
Go on, Berserker. You go first.
I was saying when I first saw Jeffree Star up until a couple months ago, I didn't know what the fuck it was. I didn't know if it was a dude, a chick, both, a fucking character from Fifth Element that got rejected.
It's okay. It's okay. The bulge scared you.
That is totally Jeff's
The
fetish. I'm
face
just gonna
scared
say
me.
it.
That was.
And also, sorry, what I want to say
Bulges
is,
are eternal.
where's the Life of Jeff Holiday reviews? What's happening with that, Jeff?
The what of Jeff? The what? What?
The Life of Jeff Holiday, your culture channel. What's happening with that, buddy?
Oh, doing like the
Your film reviews and your
yeah,
anime reviews.
I keep wanting to get into it, but I end up like by the time I get done with the stuff for like the regular channel, I'm so fucking exhausted I never get around to doing it. What I'm thinking about doing, I'm thinking about ripping off Mundane Matt because Matt's got a great. Well, yeah, kind of, because he's got a great way of doing it. He sets it up. He does a live stream. He's got like 3, maybe sometimes 4 things he wants to talk about, and then he just does it long form live, and then just kind of like hangs out and shoots the shit. And then later that day, just chops it up and uploads it as regular content. Yeah. But I don't know, like, if I could really talk about a lot of this, because I started thinking to myself, maybe I just want to just review horror movies and comic books.
Yeah. You already have something you're supposed to be reviewing, though.
What's that?
Hidden Colors, motherfucker.
Oh, Christ. Jesus.
That's right. We got to finish that shit.
Yeah, where's
I'm
Prince?
not going to reject Prince this way. She wants it to happen. It must happen.
I'm down. It's just we got to get the whole dream team back together again to do it.
Send some of those new subscribers Prince's way.
Yeah.
Subscribe to Prince Do. Follow her on Twitter and on Twitch.
I mean, you know, the only bad part is like it does get a little vaguely political, and I've been trying to avoid politics as much as possible on the channel. But
give us some goddamn history review. I have no idea. Green Lantern's history, for example, is just a complete mess. I will never understand.
Yeah,
so
that's
review the original Green Hornet series because it has Bruce Lee.
Well, I don't know. Like, there's a bunch of other things that I would like to do on YouTube, but they don't really fit with the channel. So I'm just debating with myself. Once the kid starts going to school, and I actually have 5 to 6 hours a day of uninterrupted work, because like right now I have to keep checking on him. He's outside playing. Once I have free time again to myself, it'll be a lot easier to do these projects. But it's a mess right now trying to get anything done. But. It's a frustrating. And this heat, dude, this fucking okay. It's not just that, it's also the heat. I like yesterday, I got a shit ton of work done, got it all busted out and everything. And 11 a.m. came around and it was so fucking hot, I just like fell onto my couch and watched The Wire for like 7 hours, passing in and out of consciousness.
Are you due another fire or something?
Hey Jeff.
Another what?
Fire, you know, the mountains going on fire and shit.
It's happening right now. It's smoky as shit out there.
Ah, right.
Hey, Jeff.
Well, I'm north of you, Jeff. So
it routinely gets it gets close to 120 where I'm at.
Are we seriously gonna have a fucking
dick sucking?
Are we having dick sucking about heat?
Yes.
I'll win.
Yes.
It's because you're trying to get dick sucked, and nobody's gonna do it.
That sounds nice.
Jeff's the only one I could trust to be somewhat clean.
Somewhat clean? You think I'm clean?
Are you kidding me? That's the key word.
Can't catch any STDs if you've already got them all.
Oh my god!
I had to start cracking jokes because people were making STD jokes at me. I was like, oh, you know, it's like Pokemon, baby. Gotta catch them all.
So you're the one that fucked Magic Johnson and gave him the AIDS.
Yeah, that was me.
The Gades.
I traveled back in time to do it, though.
We gotta give him the Gades.
Wait, are you the one that killed Freddie Mercury? Bastard.
No.
He killed Easy. Fucking asshole.
I love Freddie. No, I don't have any STDs, but
No. Speaking of Freddie Mercury, I got pissed. Somebody tried to say Justin Bieber had a better voice than him, and would try to be dead serious on Twitter the other day. I got lost my shit.
Person.
What kind of goddamn follower of Slanish has no STDs? What's wrong with you, Jeff? Get your shit together.
Look, at least he has a collection of increasingly sized dildos.
Mm-hmm. You know, when you've just mentioned Freddie Mercury, I'd like to give a story about it. There was a documentary. This is a story time. This is a funny story.
Yeah.
I was around
It better
9
be
years
funny.
old. I was around 9 years old. I was watching this BBC documentary with my grandfather, who, came from a wartime generation. He was Scottish. And we were watching this documentary of Freddie Mercury, of how, what legacy he had and how he, eventually died. And it got to the point where they were showing his gay, lifestyle, where he would invite his friends. And there's even footage of him inviting his gay friends in his kitchen, and they were doing certain stuff. And my grandfather just said, because he's an outright, public homophobe, he utterly despises gays. He says,
Right.
I'm glad that faggot died in his own fucking filth in the end, which he was referring to the AIDS that killed him.
But the way I look at it is this: at least Freddie Mercury was a gay man who did his goddamn job. He did not like big bottom or fat bottom women, but he still sang about them like a goddamn.
Well,
and these slippers, man. Seriously?
Hang on. You guys don't seem to understand. Freddie Mercury was not actually gay. Freddie Mercury was bi as fuck, man. The dude was notorious at slaying vagina left and right. His
Mercury, of course.
Oh, fuck you.
He banged.
If I do that, I'm falling out of this chair.
Yeah. I mean, that's like when people try to say like fucking Gene Simmons was a notorious womanizer and treated women like shit. Well, no, it's not a surprise. It's fucking Gene Simmons from Kiss. Of course he did.
Yeah, it's Gene Simmons.
Just like Gene Simmons
fucking
sexually
prick.
harassed me. You shit, woman. He's Gene Simmons.
Yeah,
Gene Simmons just needs to go away.
He needs to copyright everything. Then he can finally pass away like the Jew he really is.
Oh, what the fuck?
No, he really no. He really does do that.
He tries to copyright everything and patent everything.
Copyrights everything. And if you make some sort of product with Kiss or his image on it, he will supposedly he sues.
That wasn't what I was getting shocked about. Like in the span of like 3 minutes.
He's Jewish as fuck. His mother survived the Holocaust in concentration camps. Like,
I know. I know. That's fine. It's all right.
It's okay, Salty.
It's just funny because it turned into
a lot of soy lately, guys. And it's just I don't know.
Why are you drinking soy, man? Why are you drinking soy?
Look, Alex not here. I have to make the Jew jokes. Okay.
It's good for you. Yeah. Soy is great for you.
Show us your boobs.
Oh my god. Damn it. These fat fucking milkers right here, baby. Ooh. Oh my god.
The deadliest of bobs.
Jeff's milkshake could feed an entire African village for a year.
See, you were asking me how is it I don't have STDs? I excrete them all out in my titty milk.
I'm not sure where to go with that. I'm just gonna.
Talking about titty milk, did you see Blair White's new video?
No, I haven't.
Oh yeah, the trap. Which one is the trap?
Pretty
which
funny.
Not?
I don't watch Blair White.
Jacqueline Glenn go around Hollywood asking people which one of them's trapped. Jacqueline Glenn gets the most trap votes.
Oh yeah, that's the funny thing.
She's such a good sport about it too.
Yeah, of course she is. Jacqueline's really nice. I get to meet her at VidCon. She's very kind. She can come hang out with us though.
Isn't Jacqueline going to MythCon?
Yeah, she is.
Which
I still, I've got a budget as tightly as I possibly can, or just stream my ass off to try and get up money for a ticket out to Milwaukee for that.
Hey, there's
how much does it cost from Seattle to Milwaukee?
Well, I'm not in Seattle. I'm in Eugene. But it's
how far from Eugene to Milwaukee? How much does the plane ticket cost?
About $200. If I get it now, it'll probably go to about $300 in a couple of weeks. So.
Well, Jeff, maybe you should start dissecting more wing nuts. There's plenty of them to choose from.
I know. I should probably do that. Just try and get the money up for it. I can even put like a little. I can put up like a little like donation goal. Like that's what I'm trying to do. Like so, I'm gonna entertain you until I make up the money to go to MythCon. Because I don't even need to pay for a motel. The guys who organize and put on MythCon, I'm gonna stay on one of their couches while I'm there. So.
Damn. Also, Derpy, you win. My joints are old. I can't keep this shit up. It's a young man's game. Oh,
I'm
What
only
is, you guys
27, and my knees are
cross-legged?
fucking horrible.
so I got like
Literally,
6,
I was
7 years
sitting
of
like
age.
this. We were sitting like this. Or we were doing like random shit, like feet up.
We were keeping ourselves entertained.
Oh, by the way,
Exactly.
so somebody did mention in the chat, soy is bad for the testosterone count. That's not actually scientifically true.
No, it's false.
It's actually not.
If
No.
if soy is so bad, then Japan and China would be really, really low on testosterone.
Yeah, and low birth rate, and yeah.
Japan's not really low on testosterone. They're just low on sex drive, which is weird.
Well,
Not really.
Well,
that and they're really high on suicide.
There's this interesting phenomenon that they've noticed. I've been wanting to do a video on it too, which is the higher the standard of living in a country, the lower the birth rate. A lot of it correlates to a lot of the impulse and the impetus for people to breed and have as many kids as possible and not employ birth control is low mortality rates for your kids. So like when you're in shitty countries like Afghanistan, yeah, you need to have 12 kids because you're lucky if even like a third of them live to adulthood. You know, like you have to do that because the birth.
And most of these
I'm
kids,
pretty sure we have more than 12 because drone
hang on. It's not a simple fact that these kids, will die around 5 to 6 years old. Some of them might just die out of childbirth because
yes,
yeah,
absolutely, absolutely.
It was the same like back in Victorian America and Victorian Europe. I mean, but same harshness. I mean, it was only until 20th century, medicine that allowed the survival, as well as like just simple injections. Like you call them in the States. There's a thing where like there's this major protest where they don't want their child to have these
Vaccinations.
Vaccinations, yeah. If it weren't for vaccinations, most of the population there would be very subtly weak and would not be immune to the major, horrific diseases.
And we're doing an upsurge in some of
with just YouTube work.
diseases.
Are you even paying attention to Jeff's channel? Like
they did.
No,
it's fine. It's fine.
I'm just reaffirming what because I think it's important to bring this thing out because a lot of people say oh, today's society is fucking horrendous. We've got no drive. We're in the best time of living.
Yes.
Throughout human history.
Agreed.
I mean, the amount of enrichment that every individual has to their opportunity is astonishing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, if we were living in medieval times, we would be classified as old men. Jeff would be the oldest man here.
Yep.
In the Middle Ages, because your age would stop like to the age of 40.
That's why being an elder was such a revered position because there weren't a lot of them.
Yeah. I mean, that's why the Norse in general had an old saying: "Beware of an old man in a young man's profession."
Yeah.
Talking about raiders and soldiers, like if you see a guy with a gray beard, don't fucking annoy him because he's got a gray beard for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and so back onto the thing though, real quick. I want to find the article, and that was kind of like contingent on me making the video about it. But the article cited some studies of immigrants, third generation immigrants from developing countries into Western countries. Specifically, I think it was the UK. And by 3 generations of people from these developing countries, their birth rate went way down, like steadily down until they were basically breeding at the same rate as everybody else.
Yeah.
And so like that's kind of like how we. I mean, it goes back to my whole idea of how we fight the war on terror. At least this is what I was saying back when we were still, fucking things up in Afghanistan. Is what we need to do is we need to airdrop microwaves with hot pockets and TV DVD combos with full series of Seinfeld and like
Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah, and we just need to like increase their standard of living. Like like,
don't forget to ship them the entire series of Homeland.
Oh yeah, and just that's a great idea. and just give the opium to the masses, increase the standard of living.
Yeah, let's send Amy Schumer over there to do comedy shows.
That's international incident.
We want them to live, not kill themselves.
Right?
But here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Get the options.
Whoever organizes that is going to the Hague. All right.
No, if you do that, you radicalize the entire fucking region like that.
But here's the thing, Jeff. If that will work, if we manage to maintain the flow of migration, if we just open the floodgates and millions and millions and millions come in each year, it will not stop them from because the amount of time for generation to integrate would take more than 50 years to do. But that wouldn't happen because if you got 5 million.
I'm trying to remember what they had an average number in it, and I think you're pretty close. I think it was like 45 years or so. And you'll get no argument from me. Like, unchecked immigration is a terrible idea because like we're trying to say, the goal is for everybody to rise up collectively.
Have you been keeping on the news about Spain being the next migrant border? Because Italy. It always has been.
Yeah, it always has been.
But what's horrible is that Macron has openly said that he would be fine allowing 200 million sub-African migrants into Europe, which would add to the 700 million within the population of Europe. That would be adding 200 million sub-African blacks.
Shit's gonna break,
Yeah, things
shit's gonna break.
So basically,
it would
what you're
destroy
saying
it.
is that they're the captain now.
Yeah.
And the thing this is the thing that drives me the most crazy about it too, is like if you try and look at it objectively, you can't even really blame the African migrants for it. Like, you can't. It's not actually their fault. It's not their fault at all. They live in a fucking hellhole. They want to find
something. What you're saying is I can't get a firing line when the Zulus charge.
But the thing what I just don't like about when you see this footage, what I don't like seeing the footage is that the moment they step in, they run, and once they enter a village or a town, they destroy everything. They vandalize everything. They pick on fights on the natives. And the police are like there to shepherd them in, like fucking shepherds with a wild flock of sheep.
That's why it's a complete
utter madness.
That's why it's got to be controlled, and people coming in need to be taught the culture and shown why this culture is good and why you can abandon like the way you lived before, and like this is good. This can be your home as long as you take this home into you as much as the home is taking you into it.
As and if you fuck up, you can fall back and not allowed back in.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with Europe these days. Like, they keep fucking this up.
It's run by bureaucrats. It's run by bureaucrats.
They're pressing a lot of World War II guilt.
It's always been run by
not just that. It's not just that. Like, I have to say this, but France is the worst place in Europe and the most corrupt hellhole within Europe. Not even Germany can surpass the amount of shit that's going on in France. Have you gone to the suburbs of Paris? They're like war zones. They're like war zones there.
I've seen some pictures of those places, and it straight up looks like a fucking horror movie, like a zombie apocalypse scenario.
Like, what the police do there?
I can't really speak to it because I haven't been there.
But you know what the police do there? If there's a migrant, if there's a bunch of migrants having an anarchy within a town, police show up. But then they just drive off. They don't deal with the situation.
They do that in this country. Why are you?
Most other countries do that. They're not like the United States are going to break out fucking rubber bullets, tear gas.
Yeah, we don't play in the States.
They don't riot control.
Really doesn't fucking Russia.
What I love about the Mexican migrants, right? Is that they're like a variety of different genders. Like, most of them are male, right? But even the men don't. When they go into a U.S. town, they don't just start picking. They don't just start picking on fistfights with the natives and start, destroying the town and creating havoc. But when you look at the situations what's going in Europe, these sub-Africans have no etiquette, no respect.
It's a difference of culture.
Very
Yeah.
ignorant, mind-boggling statement. That is.
The Mexican people
Oh,
historically
yes.
have always been hard-working people. It's their children, the first generation Mexican Americans, that cause a lot of issues and like that start screaming, "Oh, make America Mexico again," and shit like that. Their parents are.
That's so rare. That's so small though. That's a pretty small one. Like, okay, the difference here is like, you know, if you have a Mexican family trying to get smuggled into the States, they're coming from a place that's poor. Maybe they're coming from a place that's like run by cartels and it's really dangerous. But the vast majority of Mexicans have a very westernized culture, because it may not be a first world country in most of the country itself. Despite there are massive cities that are great, but it's still a Western culture. So when a Mexican dude comes over from Mexico, rather than like, you know, reaping the fruits of the country, he goes to Home Depot and gets a job in the parking lot. Whereas like a lot of these African migrants are coming from places that literally have child soldiers, you know, like
war zone.
Yeah,
there's also a lot of Mexican influence in the American culture too.
Yeah, Berserker. Can I just add this point here? If say like you're in a town in New Mexico and Texas, and there's a bunch of migrant Mexican men that are about to infestate the town, what they would do is that they wouldn't just come in like blocks of, you know, men like soldiers, like they're coming in groups, like in fear and intimidation. They would just intermingle with the jobs, you know, basically take over the jobs, take over the towns and communities. And yes, they are taking over. Yes, they are separating with their language.
No, it's more integration.
No, hang on. No. Let me finish on this. What they would do is they would just fill the jobs, and that would be the only extent that they'd be doing. But with these African migrants, they literally come in like an attacking force. Like they're invasive. Fucking hell. I mean, you just look at the footage. Just type it on YouTube. It's fucking horrendous.
So, Berserker, you going to watch Little Witch Academia or what?
Yeah, maybe, possibly.
Watch the OVA. It's like 26 minutes. It's definitely
have a
worth
much
checking
bigger
out.
one and realize what the fuck happened.
I mostly just watch shit on Funimation. That's what I have.
Oh, you don't have a Netflix subscription, man?
Oh, fuck no. I got rid of Netflix.
Dude, get Crunchyroll. It's all anime.
Oh my god.
Yeah, get Crunchyroll, definitely.
Look, there's only one anime in existence, and that is Harmageddon. Harmageddon is the ultimate anime. Damn it.
No, Pokemon is the ultimate anime. What are you talking about, Jeff? Get out.
No,
We don't
Harmageddon is
talk of
amazing.
Pokemon being an actual anime. Motherfucker, I had to watch a goddamn 4chan thread compilation, and Pokefags are the most dangerous thing next to Steven Universe gem whores.
I like Pokemon, but I tuned out once I turned 13. The same with like Yu-Gi-Oh! Or any of that shit. Like I hit 13, I was like, I have no interest in this anymore.
Actually, Jeff, you're forgetting one important key anime I'd just like to point out. Boku no Pico.
Stop it.
Oh god. Stop it.
End your life, Palette. End your life. End your fucking life.
I got warned by Wild Tanuki about that because people are like,
I have to say,
don't warn people about it. God damn it!
You have
Tanuki
to
comes in and be like, "Don't do it."
You gotta watch it at least once.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You
like
need
I made the other one that's basically child porn.
One guy, one jar. You have to watch it once.
Tanuki also saved me from the one that's like fucking child porn too. And people are like, "Oh, you should watch this."
That's what Pico is.
Yeah.
There's two of them then because there's another one.
There's 3 episodes of Boku no Pico.
Have you
Actually, there's more than 3.
Oh, there's more than 3? I only saw 3.
Yes.
All right,
I've only gotten to
subject
3.
before Amos Yee shows up in the chat.
I'm good.
So, Valkyria Drive. You watched that one?
I've never heard of it.
I've heard of it, never watched it.
Yeah. Jeff, are you familiar with this?
Nope.
It's half the population is infected with a virus that when women become excited, they turn into weapons. Some turn into wielders, and some turn into weapons.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
That sounds like some Japanese shit. I've been intrigued by watching a bunch of veterans I follow on social media finally learning who maps are, and it's fucking hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, fucking. Oh god.
Watching people explain it to Tim Kennedy was fucking hilarious.
So when are we going to see this next vaccination video then? When are you going to deconstruct it?
Next which one?
Next anti-vax video. When are you going to deconstruct it?
My goal today is once we're done here in about 20 minutes or so, I have to watch and take notes on. I was gonna do it earlier today, but I didn't get a chance to. Let me look it up real quick. This is so I got through finally watching Who Killed Alex Sportolakis again, and got all my notes written down, which is good because it's a pain in the ass. But the next one that I have to make sure that I have, where the fuck is it? I have it in here somewhere. It's a documentary specifically on Wakefield. I think it's called like the something Optimist. Shit. Hang on. I'm gonna find it. Motherfucker.
Optimist
documentary.
Optimist Prime.
The Pathological Optimist. It's a documentary on Wakefield. I need to go through and watch that one more time, take my notes, build a timeline, and then I can record it and have it out. I'm hoping next week. I'm hoping next week I can have it because I'm.
Did y'all ever get in contact with Donut Operator yet?
No. I mean, I tweet at him every now and then, and like we're aware of each other, but we've never really spoken.
He a couple weeks ago when I brought it up to you and Anna and Nick and stuff, it was like he mentioned y'all on stream.
Oh yeah, cool.
He's like, I'm not sure who the YouTube Saints are, but I heard they have a show. Is it like? Is this something I'd be interested in? And I was like, well, fuck yeah. You like shooting shit?
Oh yeah, he would be super
Best show on the
interested
internet.
on.
Who are we talking about?
Donut Operator is a former police officer who makes.
I know who Donut Operator is. I just didn't hear the name being dropped.
Yeah.
Getting him on Saints.
Yeah, I'd like to have
Donut Operator on Saints.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be great. He's
Jeff,
a great
you ever
dude.
you ever gonna do a video on aspartame?
Aspartame?
Mm-hmm.
I could.
Because I've heard so much bullshit from both sides on it. It'd be interesting to see your hot take on it.
Isn't aspartame just a preservative?
Artificial sweetener.
Artificial sweetener?
It's just an artificial sweetener. It's the main reason why people got freaked out about aspartame is because there were some troubling studies involving rats. But if I'm not mistaken, don't quote me on this. If I'm not mistaken, the basic biomechanical function that made it have a problem with rats is not even present in humans. So
yeah, can you do a video on veganism? Because I would actually like to see someone like you who actually does do research and isn't biased at all make a video on the pros and cons.
On what?
On veganism, like hardcore 100% balls to the wall veganism, because I see a lot of bad shit about it.
Well, I mean, the main thing about veganism is you know, as long as you are aware of what in your diet you're deficient in and you respond accordingly, like you can be very healthy as a vegan. You totally can. It's just a lot of people think that just by going vegan you'll be healthy, and that's not true. The newest one sounds more interesting, and it's the carnivore diet.
Carnivore diet
Jordan
is weird
his daughter. Yeah, I heard that one.
Well, not them. I heard it way before he ever jumped on the fucking bandwagon. Chris and Mark Bell.
Yeah, people have been doing versions of the Atkins diet based on that, and versions of the Atkins diet as I think it was designed for, based on eating a lot of mushrooms. But basically, yeah, there've been a few meat carnivore diets. I'm not entirely sure that's how people are meant to work, if I'm honest.
I don't know. I'm iffy on it, but then again, I see power
Jeff, you know, Jeff, I'd love you to do, if you had the time to do so, I'd love you to do a rebuttal video on the Cowspiracy on Netflix. I mean, that documentary, the Cowspiracy documentary on Netflix. Have you heard of it?
Cowspiracy?
It's an old famous early 2010 documentary documenting how a path to veganism would lead to an environmental revival. Like it would save the environment if everybody went vegan.
No.
Because of
break everything.
because of emissions from like from
Yeah,
basically
for
the
methane.
cow farts.
Methane, yeah.
Yeah, there's actually a little bit of truth to it. I have looked into to methane emissions before, as far as, because I was planning this big climate change series that I was gonna do, and then I just forgot, and it really wasn't as like sexy or awesome, so kind of fell by the wayside.
I agree with the premises that if you were to reduce the amount of farming across the world, it would really revive the environment. But the problem is that they try to subvert their ideological lifestyle of veganism into it by using all these post 1970s/60s hippies,
right?
Justifying the vegan lifestyle and save animals. Like there's a scene, right, where this main guy of a documenter, says, "I've set," he gets a chicken from a farm. And he has the option to eat it, but then he just puts it in the front seat of his car and he keeps it as a pet. I mean, really, dude? Being radical on that, you're being a rebel on that. I mean, come on. And there was this other
did an episode on this though.
Yeah.
This could be very friendly. There
was this absurd scene by this hippie guy who said
have a little tiny T-Rex.
Yeah, no. He said that people should stop drinking milk and calcium because the whole purpose of milk and calcium is meant to be for infants that are drinking off their mother's breast.
Nah, I mean, it's the thing. A lot of that kind of argumentation is pretty silly. That you shouldn't drink it because it's designed for this. Well, I mean, anything's a dildo if you're brave enough, but it still could be a good time. So
my biggest argument's always been, but scientists are starting to believe that the reason for sudden human growth in the brain is the cooking and eating of meat.
Oh yeah, there's a little bit to that, but I mean, it could also not necessarily be the nutrients. The nutrients do show some correlative effects towards brain development, but I mean, just the simple act of human beings getting down to using tools, utilizing fire, and experimenting with how to cook, like that.
Why are you not sharing?
The brain has the amazing ability to learn and adapt and to kind of grow. Dendritic branching happens because you use your brain. If you just sit there like a numbnuts and don't do anything and consume TV, you're not using your brain as much as you possibly could. Exercise also helps with dendritic branching. Like all these things can help. So you imagine, like, the more complicated that life gets, the more smarter we get because we're using our brains more. As far as the physiological component to our diet, I mean, there's some evidence here or there, but I'd have to really dig in to really figure it out. But when it really comes down to it with the cow thing, there is very much a big problem with the methane production from farming so much cattle. Because the planet's not designed for that many cows, the planet's not designed for this many people. So finding ways in which we can utilize our technology to allow for us to continue to grow and not do as much damage is a good idea. And I'll say it like I've always said it before, and I wish more vegans would pay attention to this. If they would pay more attention and more money into finding a way to be able to grow meat rather than telling everybody to just abandon meat, they would probably find a shift happen rather quickly. Especially if
that's
make
bad.
it
Drought-resistant crops are bad. We need to stop that. I mean, it's much better for people to starve to death than die of
GMOs
nutrition.
are bad because you're fucking with nature and fucking.
They're evil.
GMOs. Remember GMOs.
That's
the fucking hippies.
That's the one that probably drives me the most crazy. Is like with everything else that I have to talk about, I don't get as much time to make videos about GMOs like I want to, because GMO technology is badass. It's super great.
You're talking about
the bananas we know now.
GMO.
Everybody invest in Monsanto. I get a pay cut, okay?
Mm-hmm.
My thing that bugs me the most is the whole, if you don't eat meat, then we don't have to kill animals for any reason. I was like, well, then what about population control?
Yeah, it's like that's pretty much, yeah.
Maybe it's because I live in a rural area and I know what happens when you don't hunt. Like,
Jeff, I'm ready for Saints. Make me co-host.
Make you a what? Make you you're ready for Saints?
I'm ready for Saints.
Holy shit! Look at that. You are ready for Saints. Wow. I need to go get some booze myself.
All I
Cherry
have
brandy.
You know your two
Like
co-hosts are
brandy
gonna be
lighter in
lit.
your
I want to know what's on the lineup here. Like, go through them real quick. What are these?
We have Croatian cherry brandy Viznjevac. We have plum brandy with honey called Medica. We have Mexican mezcal. We have Palinkovac, which still has wormwood in, which I'm pretty sure is illegal, but whatever. It's good. We have Dalmatian wine, which is like 15%. We have Italian limoncello. And we still have a little bit of Kentucky moonshine left over.
Ooh, what's a limoncello?
Limoncello, they have lemons that are about that large, like big as your head, and they're about 60%, the white pith around the outside with a small normal lemon inside, and they basically take that lemon pith and turn it into booze. So it's fermented.
Nice.
It's really strong lemony taste. It's very sweet. You can just see from cracking this open, it's just sugar all around the rim. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Basically just a liqueur. A lemon liqueur.
That sounds good.
I got blackberry brandy. It's about as high end as I'm willing to go right now.
Hey, Jack, you need to get booze because you know your two co-hosts are gonna be completely fucking blitzed.
Yeah,
I'd
send you some, but can't because USPS doesn't allow you to send booze.
Quinn showed up, so Nick may not be completely blitzed.
But yeah, it's gonna be nuts. It'll be a good midweek. I gotta figure out what the theme of the studio should be today.
Who's the? You're gonna reveal to us the guest for weekend?
The package delivered yesterday?
Was the package delivered yesterday? I didn't see one. No.
Someone stole my package.
Hey, Mems.
Really?
Hi,
Mems. Mems.
A package from Amazon. And it
1 second.
Yeah. Somebody might have stolen a package off
But it sounds like I need to work.
Stoop.
Shit. Somebody might have stolen a package off the front stoop.
Sons of
suckers.
That's
fucked
also,
up.
Where's Mems' cameo? Cameo, Mems.
She's at work
mad.
right
I don't
now.
think we want one.
Yeah. She's at work and she's pissed, so.
She could at least give us some shit talk and, bully you on camera or something.
She did. She talked to whoever stole her package.
Or she could just scream at him to read super chats and come fuck her. That's always a classic.
Come read super chats and come fuck. Oh, yeah. We all love memes, but
this is my stream now. Look at me.
There
Look
you
at
go.
me.
my stream.
I am the captain now. Yeah. I was outside checking on the kid, and yesterday he got into the pool with some of his nice clothes on. I have like just a little mini pool. And he got in with his nice clothes, so I was like, all right, fine. So I stripped all of his clothes off so he could play around in the pool. But they're like all over the backyard now, and I'm like, shit, it looks so white trash. I need to go clean that up.
I'm pretty sure I still have you beat. I've got like 3 trailers and 4 trucks in my
You
backyard.
are the captain now.
Ooh.
Half of the trucks are on cinder blocks.
No, they're all on wheels. Only 2 of them work.
Oh, so you're just a hick. Okay.
Man,
The Toyota truck's dead, and I'm tired of fixing the fucking thing so it can sit there dead.
last time I was in a camper, I went to a Skinny Puppy concert with this friend of mine. She's really super pretty too. We got wasted drunk, and we just could not be out any longer, so we broke into my friend's camper and passed out in there. Didn't even have a bed. All the way, it was like stripped bare. It was just like bare plywood, and we just climbed up into it and pulled up. Oh god!
Somewhere.
And
sorry,
for the record, all 3 of the Chevys work to varying degrees.
Just speaking of pretty, when are we doing the UK meetup so you can come and meet Red?
Oh, I know, man. I know. So I found out when I was looking through. I started getting better at researching ticket prices, like being able to fly internationally. So I'm gonna work on after getting to MythCon. I'm gonna work on getting my passport, and I hope next year to either fly to the UK or to China, because it's the same price. It's about $650.
That's weird.
UK's better. You can come and see the Queen and whatever else is American tourists tend to do. Take pictures next to stones.
I want to do body shots with the Queen. Can you hook me up?
Hell yeah!
Oh, No, I probably don't, but Red probably knows her. I'm just saying.
I bet she can probably hold a lot of salt in her neck folds. You know what I'm saying?
No, you're just doing body shots off corgis at that point.
Maybe.
Is that what you want?
That's fucking.
We'll see. I would love to come to the UK. It's just getting the money up for it, and also finding somebody to help Mems take care of the kid for a week. Because I'm not going for just. I ain't going for just a weekend. Oh no, I'm coming for a whole week. Fuck that.
Just get Sestra to come over so Winter has funds.
Could do that.
Yeah, exactly. Moderate your house. Plus, you know, maybe you
More
can
like
convince...
Sestra and fucking Winter are painting by numbers, listening to horrible postmodern jukebox music.
Postmodern jukebox is great. You shut your filthy whore mouth. And maybe you can get Social Source over as well. Maybe you can get all the UK people, which I'm not sure how many there are. You can meet Mike from Honey Badgers. There's
a lot of UK people for sure.
Down there.
Yeah, I need to go. Me and Danker have been planning on fucking getting pints together for a long ass time.
Well, you better hurry up before you get sent to jail.
I know.
Yeah.
Or before I say something too shitty against UKIP and he gets mad at me.
Or you get banned from entering the UK.
Did you see that fucking Did you see that fucking promo that the leader of UKIP did for the Thinkery? It went full Heinlein.
No, God.
I've unsubscribed from Sargon at this point. He's just lost the plot. He used to just reply with commentary and things, and there's just no idea what the shit he's talking about these days. And it's just.
I can agree with that. I can definitely agree with that.
I still love my friend. Carl.
Yeah, he may be an interesting person, but he needs to pick some better subjects.
I can't say I'm the biggest. I can't say I'm the biggest fan. I can't say I'm the biggest fan of Sargon right now, but I still love my friend Carl.
Echo.
Holy Echo!
Damn it, Derpy!
That is not me this time.
Fat guy.
Fat guy, come on, man.
That was me.
Yeah, how's it going, buddy?
It's going well. I finally got my headphones to work. I would have been on earlier.
Now, me and Fat Guy got to sit down and have some drinks. Shit, what was that, a month ago?
It was over a month ago.
Okay.
Before the 4th.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hey Jeff, if you do make it out to MythCon, I'll be there, and if you want, we could go a couple bars.
Okay, how about some strip clubs?
I'm not a big fan of Silk. That's the big one in Milwaukee.
Okay.
But
if you like gay clubs, Bread's all in.
There's only one gay bar that I know of, and the only reason why it's like that is because it's on Tuesday and it's right by the fucking airport.
I got a question.
It's called the Cockpit.
Yeah, what's up, Fat
Guy? How'd that incident at your house turn out?
The incident? Which incident?
Well, you had to leave early because someone was on your front porch who just wouldn't leave?
Oh God! So this woman showed up to the house and she was trying to like sell books or something like that. And Memory was like, "Yeah, no, I'm not interested." No, and she was acting really weird. And then so she went away. And then when Mems called me, that woman was like sitting right outside of our front door, just sitting there, not doing anything, but just like staring off into the distance. And it freaked the shit out of Mems.
She's being called home by her overlords.
I guess something. She's just acting like a fucking lunatic.
Communicating with mothership.
Tell her to leave.
By the time I got there,
her micro antenna are picking up signals.
She was long gone. I like drove around the neighborhood to see if I could find her, but
it's the Thetans. She's getting rid of all the Thetans.
Well, they have some work release like programs and stuff that you can sign up for if you're a criminal, and some of these do end up being like you can work for a company who's contracting out for you to try and sell all sorts of shit. So I mean, it could have been like somebody doing that. It could have just been like she was apparently very foreign and her English is very broken as well. So I don't know. But me and Mems are really paranoid about our house ever since all the crazy death threats and shit that I got last year.
Well, if you have guns, there's your problem solved.
Yeah, Memory
Unless
doesn't
it's illegal in Oregon or some shit.
Oh no!
She doesn't prescribe to guns very well.
I'm pretty sure that Mems could
Oregon
But
has very lax gun laws, and I own quite a few guns. But Mems herself she's not really a big fan of them. So.
No, the
So
fact
what you're
that
saying is I
Oregon
need
has
to get
lax
her a
gun laws
cutlass.
surprises me. I don't know why.
Just it's always been very lax in Oregon.
Oregon has less than Washington, which sucks.
Oregon,
Because I live in fucking Washington.
My question
Yeah,
to
how
this
the
is,
Grizzlies going? How the Grizzlies doing?
hey Jeff, if I get Mims a cutlass, will she start answering the door with it?
Oh, a cutlass, dude. Yeah, no. I like one of the stories that made me fall in love with Mems is some dude was fucking with her at a rainbow gathering, and he pissed her off so bad that she actually picked up a machete and chased him, and she had to get tackled by her friends because she was gonna chop him into pieces. She needs a fire cutlass.
Now that is
Wait a
sexy
minute.
right there.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
Somewhere around here, I have. What do I have? I'll get back to you on this one.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Well,
I just realized I bought cheap blackberry brandy, but I realized it's not cheap enough to where it's in a plastic bottle. Okay.
Aw. What's up,
Like,
fat
I
guy?
now have a serious inkling to buy Mims a straight-on pirate cutlass.
I have a big wooden cutlass and a shield somewhere around here, but I've no idea where it's gone. I just picked up the giant comedic sombrero, and it's not underneath that. So,
what were you gonna say, fat guy?
Oh, what I was gonna say is, since I went around the country after I left you, I had some very interesting encounters.
Oh yeah.
The one I remember the most is one where the police took my memory card off my camera.
What state?
Arkansas.
You bet your ass they will.
Little Rock, Arkansas. Let me say that Little Rock, Arkansas, the South. I think it's the Southeast. Very interesting neighborhood you got there.
Do you want to know why they do it?
Well, I knew it was like a material witness.
Because Satan's imprinted on the camera lens.
No, because
steal your soul.
It's considered evidence, so they can legally take it. And also, like, they can legally take your phone if you recorded a crime or you might have. And it's also less chance for them to get in trouble if you decide to remotely resist arrest and they decide to beat the shit out of you.
Oh no! Here's the story behind it. So I'm going through Little Rock, and because I don't know Little Rock very well, I go through in the morning because, there's less, like, people who are going to kill you are sleeping at, like, 8, 9 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
So I'm heading through, and I'm going through man, it must have been, like, the worst neighborhood in Little Rock. I'm talking ghetto here and out.
Ghetto with fuck.
Yeah. So I come up to I actually get stopped in the street because there's police cars, and they're busy picking up because somebody did something bad to someone else.
They probably killed someone to this Little Rock.
Yeah, there's blood on the sidewalk or whatnot, and the police are just like wrapping up the police tape or all that stuff. So I figure, I'll just sit here like 2-3 minutes. Police are going to be done. There's like 10 people out there watching the police. One guy's like chatting how the media's not like with them. The police are leaving. They're all by themselves. I didn't see it at the time, but this man and this woman were arguing. She must have said something because I didn't hear it. But he pulls out what I think was a pistol and freaking pistol whips her.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
damn.
He gets about like 3 strikes onto her when she goes down instantly. And then a freaking policeman like Goldberg spears him.
Oh, yeah, they don't fucking play.
Yeah. He goes down and like starts arresting him. Now, while he's being arrested, the woman gets up, bleeding, decides, well, I can get my licks in now too, and start kicking the guy in the head who's being arrested.
Wow.
So she gets tackled. And they both start screaming, holy high heaven, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter.
Oh, no.
Yeah, like the neighborhood starts waking up and actually starts coming out and like looking on. A cop happened to reach over, grab the keys of my bike, and turned off my bike. Because I was about ready to take off at that point.
So that's a safety thing too. Like,
so the thing is that the cops, like, the crowd grew to like 100 people, all screaming at the cops. The cops like swarm there. They eventually escort me back to the police station. They wanted me to get off the bike, and I was like, hell no, I'm not leaving this bike here. It won't be here when I get back.
smart man.
They take it there, because they saw the camera on my helmet, and they're thinking like, well, did you record it? I lied and said, no, it's not on. It was on, but you know.
Oh.
They take the camera out, they put it into their computer, and they start playing the footage back. And oh god, when he turned off the bike, you could hear my commentary.
Oh shit!
What was going on? So you see all these you see all the people coming out of the neighborhood, and I say, "Uh-oh, they wrestled the natives."
Oh
man! They'll probably take it with the stride. We're fucking.
You done fucked up there, brother.
Yeah, probably the worst comment I said was probably when it was like hyped and like the cops telling me to calm down. I say like, if you open fire, there will be no loss to humanity.
Oh god!
I thought you were gonna say something completely different.
So I'm like, and they're actually playing this video in front of like the entire police station. And like you just see me with this big shit-eating grin, like, yep, I said that. Yep, I said that. One cop, after it's done, looks at like the like I guess the chief and goes, we'll have a riot if we release that audio.
Oh yeah, they don't. No, like I can tell you, my state, they get down.
That's crazy. Absolutely nuts. Well, all right, we're gonna go offline and hang out just a little bit, and then I'm gonna get to work. So for everybody out there watching live, bye-bye. This is it. Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Adios.
Bye.
Bye.